Hey there. I'm just doing an essay and I got kind of deep in thought for a second and wanted to record it and post it. Growing old was the thought. Things come a little sooner than we expect, and we live like, this little time that we have while we're young, it's going to last forever. And when we're young, we can make choices, get fired, start a new career, jump into new things, go to, have a different major, travel, whatever you want to do, because you always have time to start over. Well, eventually we're going to grow old. And I just kind of hate the thought of how many people think they're too old for things, too old to go back to school, too old to start over. And I realize that we do have our limits and there is only so long that we are going to live, but I just I just don't like it. I just wish that regardless of how old you are, obviously if you're a child, there's certain things you can't do because you're just not an adult, but that you would always have the ability to go after something and do something regardless of the circumstances you can't change. You can't change how old you are, and you can't change your genes, and you can't change those things, but I just wish that people would just believe that they could do those things and that people would expect others to do those things. No one expects certain types of people to do anything. Older people, what do we expect them to do? To live in a nursing home and eat 3 meals a day and maybe go on a little walk outside and then die? Granted, they might not have as much energy sometimes, more drained, but they're still people. They still have lives. They're the same 20-year-old people in just an older body. I don't know. It's just really disappointing what we expect of old people. And the truth is, most of our lives we're going to be old. What is considered old? Is 40 middle-aged, and then 50 years old is old? Well, after that, if we live till we're 70 or 80, we're going to spend most of our life being old. Do we really want to spend most of our lives not being able to do anything? We're already kids for, how long is adolescence now? Like 20 years, something like that? So we're spending like a third or a fourth of our lives not being able to do anything anyways. Why are we going to add on 20, 30 years onto that? So if we live till we're 80 years old, and you take your 20 years of adolescence, which you can only to a limit do things, and then you take your 30 years from, I'm thinking 50s old, or when you're becoming old, to 80, there's 30 years. Add that together, 50 years that you just don't have full potential, or you just can't do things. And the rest, that 30 years, that's when you're supposed to really live life and enjoy and be successful and do everything you're going to do within that 30 years. While this 50 years, the majority of your life, you're either too young or too old. How does this make sense? Like, who did the math there? Why not just consider like old people can do more and just not think you're too old, but go after things. Make that smaller. I don't know. To Christ, all things are possible.